Hello everyone. Now you can actually see the setting where Arno and I are hosting the conference this year. It's in an office on the 10th level, engineering one at the University of Pretoria. So yeah, I would really like us to maybe share ideas specifically about what the future will hold, or if there are any specific questions is working, we can also accommodate that. Let's begin stage at this stage, and you can direct if there's a dedicated discussion. Anyway, so the floor is very open. By the way, Brodie, thank you very much for an excellent presentation and for showcasing what FreeCAD can do as a parametric modeler. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me. There was a lot thrown into a 25-minute-ish period of time, so not a lot of it would have been all that clear. So anyone should feel free to reach out to me at any point to get a better explanation, and hopefully I'll break them down into smaller videos and put them on YouTube over the next few months.
Yes, wonderful, wonderful. What time is it in Australia?
It is currently on the East Coast, about 15 minutes past 10 p.m.
Okay, so it's not that bad. It's not that.
Not yet. So I can't really answer too much on the university side of things, but in terms of industry, I don't mention how I make a lot of the things to a lot of people. I do a lot of work for open source things, so they're very happy that I'm using open source tools. But yeah, there's still a lot of acceptance. Anything that's open source doesn't seem to have hit heavy industry the same way that it has hit the IT world. But hopefully that will change soon. But I was blown away with the amount of academic effort being put into FreeCAD just over the course of the last 2 days. So it seems like it's received a lot better acceptance in the university space than heavy industry, at least at the moment.
Although I can say, Brodie, that the commercial companies are clever, and they have been for a number of years. They target universities with so-called free licenses for their commercial packages, and universities gladly accept those. But it's really at the expense of the students, because in the end, when the students graduate and they go out, and as I said, some people will want to start own companies, they will then have to buy these commercial packages because that's what they know. So from my initiative, I introduced FreeCAD. It was not without any pushback, I must admit. But I think if one thinks broader, also it's obviously established now and it goes on, and which I'm grateful for. This conference is also a great tool, I believe. But I think the prospects of, I would like to hear actually feedback on the idea of having these containerized computer labs in rural areas. I mean, then there's no boundary, there's no limit. One can have excellent content producers like yourself, Brodie, creating videos, training the people. I think it's something that cannot be stopped, really, in my mind.
Oh, absolutely. I think once, especially now with I've just seen what's going into the simulation space, real simulation tools developed by universities that people recognize, funded by companies that people know the names of. You may not present something to someone saying, I did this simulation with FreeCAD. It might be, I did it with Frontista, I did it with Calculix, CFD was done with OpenFoam. FreeCAD was the facilitator of that. But someone who doesn't know better hears that, they'll just go, oh, that sounds good. You say the University of Tokyo and Fujitsu are behind this. it's probably pretty good. But having that, once those things kind of take a little bit of root, they'll realize the only way to use these amazing tools is to accept FreeCAD is the facilitator of them. It is what makes it available to the public. And because it's open, people can interrogate it to find out whether or not this simulation system is actually viable, it does what they need it to do. It's not a black box that you buy from someone and hope that it's telling you the truth.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And ironically, I mean, you alluded to it. Ironically, the solvers are mostly developed at universities by academia. And then there's nothing wrong with commercializing something that is in open, that someone has developed. The question is why not, why can, and I'm convinced that we can, academia can take that one step further to put around. I mean, this is really already established. The FreeCAD environment and GUI is excellent. So it's basically just taking it one step further, um, creating the buttons and the GUI, etc. The solver is there, and you can create a workbench. So
Yeah, exactly. That's and I think like some of the other things that were considered hobbyist tools 5 years ago, 10 years ago, that are now becoming industry standard. Blender is probably the gold standard poster child for an open source project massively disrupting the commercial space. And I believe that FreeCAD and other tools like KeyCAD and so on that get the same love and attention, that can, if they continue to get support, being monetary development, people creating content and documentation showing what can be done with it, FreeCAD and many other things can and probably will take up that same level of adoption.
I fully agree, and that's definitely what I hope for and strive for, and that's dedicate my life to really. Um, can I ask on that note, do you think the idea of having regional conferences, hybrid conferences, in person and online, is that a viable option? Is there some what is the level of interest of the audience here?
I, I I think genuinely it is a good idea. I think there might be some initial just getting people excited about. It doesn't matter that you're not a professional videographer who knows how to edit videos. You can throw a video together. I've got no idea what I'm doing. I've made like 7 YouTube videos and I've just learned how to do it as I go. Once you get that going, I think you'll be able to find lots of people who just want to talk about what they're doing. I mean, look at things like I'll pick the Midwest Rep Rap Festival. The majority of stalls in this conference is tables where people just bring their projects in and put them down so everyone can have a look at it and they can talk about it with people who are their peers who are interested. That kind of thing, I think, once people get that it's a forum, it's not an exclusive club. I think you'll have a lot of community members that would love to contribute. You'll probably get some serial pests like me who will put their hand up to want to contribute to all of them. But yeah, I think that it can be a very good idea. It's just probably going to rely on getting the word out very well, talking to the right people, and just encouraging people to get involved. Oh, and quickly, I've just seen Keith post a question about obvious sponsors. I'm trying to get the company and the owners of the company that I currently work for to jump in and throw some. They have thrown some support towards a few open source projects that I've suggested, but trying to get them to really put their money where their mouth is, considering the benefit that they're now getting out of a lot of tools that I've introduced. But yeah, there will. I need to dig more into it. Part of the passion of trying to get my favorite software tool to grow is going to be trying to harass commercial funding out of people.
Yes. The funding is always, I think that's maybe the Achilles heel. Without necessary funding, it's difficult to get things going. And that's why I'm so grateful for the Royal Academy of Engineering for the support of this effort of the workbench, as well as the conference. I mean, without that funding, our NICRADAP workbench would not have existed. I could contract an external company where Dr. Alfred Burgers works, and they made him available for Revision 1. We were a support team of Arno and one of my other students and myself. We were working together on that, but Dr. Burgers was really the driving force. He had all the knowledge, all the experience. And then I managed also to contract Dr. Cecil Jones for Revision 2, and he did an immense job. So without that funding, it would have been a much longer route to get where we are currently. But I think, I don't know. I mean, it's a difficult question to answer. How do you secure the funding? I think when companies can see the value that open source presents, they would be willing to take out money and fund different projects, etc. And I think that awareness is already slowly gaining momentum. So from where I stand, I mean, I took a bold move in announcing the 2024 conference as an in-person and online person. Obviously, then the in-person attendees will have to pay for attendance because there are costs involved, and maybe that's also a way of channeling funding to different projects. So, yeah, exciting times ahead of us.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just another thing that only recently happened that has been will be a huge benefit for FreeCAD getting funding is the formation of the association that Yorick did. Now they have a body that companies will feel more comfortable sponsoring. They will be able to take things to their finance departments. They'll be paid this body, not a bunch of random people on the internet that we talk to, some money. And if they can see tax benefits or anything like that, that always helps. But I think, yeah, the IT side of tech and taking up open source, some companies are setting a very good example of you want this to continue to exist, you need to fund it, or if we want this feature, we can pay someone to add it. We don't need to go and beg and plead a vendor to add something when we can put a bounty up and throw someone some money to make our lives easier.
I think the freedom of that, the development, and that you are in the driving seat of the development of the software tool, that is priceless, really. And yes, I fully agree with you. I think companies will realize that the potential of that. The risk is, on the other hand, is commercial companies or companies using software are in competition with each other. So they don't want their tool to be used by the competition. So it's a bit of that. I don't know how to solve that question, but yeah, a lot of unanswered questions as well. But as I said, I think the road ahead is bright for open source.
Absolutely. Do we have any more specific questions?
I would like to ask a question to Brad Collette. Thank you very much for sharing that link on LinkedIn for the key developers. I think I can't remember all the details. Is that the way to get, or is that the entry point for arranging and organizing this roadmap committee? And thank you, Brad, for your comments as well. Maybe the forum is a good place, I don't know, to organize a group. But anyway, I think also the freedom associated with open source software development is not something to be constrained. It's something to enhance, really. So, Brodie, I want to ask you, so are you a freelancer doing consultation work? Is that, or do you work for a company? I couldn't get that very clear.
I do both, or I do all of it. I work for a company, mostly sort of in an innovation and IoT space. I also do freelance design work, both electronics and now product design work mostly. And I also am heavily involved with a little electronics or e-paper non-emissive display startup called Modos that we're building open source devices. We've just got a grant to do some pilot work. Very, very excited about that. I don't think I could just do one of them. I'd have to do all of them.
Yeah, I would really love to see more of your excellent YouTube videos. I mean, I think, but anyway, there are other great content providers as well. But I do say, and that's my personal view, I think your excellent level of professionalism is something that can be commended.
Thank you very much. I think I just started trying to make the videos that I wished existed when I first started trying to use FreeCAD. And I worked out that I hate video editing and it takes me weeks and weeks and weeks to edit a video together. So that's practice. That's not actually, that's something that can be overcome. But yeah, it's something that I've got a massive list of videos half prepared and so on that I need to get back to because I enjoy face-to-face teaching probably more than creating videos, but I do really enjoy. That's probably the best way for me to contribute to FreeCAD is to help people. I spend half of my week pottering around in FreeCAD professionally and as a hobbyist, so I may as well try and help people get to. Well, half of the people that I've started with are way better at it than me now, so that's hopefully I can keep doing that.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, I think, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much once again from my side. Yes, as Brad is saying in the comments there, we are all very much looking forward to 2.0. So please save the date Q1 2024, and if you can, find the means of coming and visiting us in South Africa, it will be really lovely to welcome you and have a big party at the end of the conference.
I would love to.
So maybe it's a good time to say goodnight to Brodie. And thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We're looking forward to next year's event. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.